guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Sarah and I review all types of products and services that are popular on the internet. And quite a while ago, I made a video reviewing Imperfect Produce. At that point, I had been using the service for a few weeks, or maybe it was about a month at that time. Now I'm using the service for quite a long time. I think it's been almost a year or over a year at this point. It's been a while, and I just want to give you an update to that review and just give you a quick list of the pros and cons that we have experienced as Imperfect Produce customers. Now, in my last video, basically everyone said that I talked way too much, so I'm gonna try to make this video as quick as possible and just get to the point of how I've been liking Imperfect Produce. So the very first pro that I absolutely love about Imperfect Produce is the convenience. It's just so nice to be able to not have to go to the grocery store, pick out your produce online and have it be delivered to your door. So that is pro number one. Pro number two is I do really feel good about the amount of packaging that is used in this service. Some people commented in my original video that there seems to be a lot of wasteful packaging, but overall I have not found that to be the case. For the most part, there is not plastic wrap, there's not individual packaging for the individual food items, with the exception of small fruits like, berries and, cherry tomatoes and things like that kind of have to be packaged together. For the most part, other than that, everything is just packaged separately and loosely in the box. So that I feel good about, the fact that they are trying to reduce the amount of packaging and extra waste. Pro number three is that I do really feel like I am supporting a good cause when I do purchase Imperfect Produce. I'm helping reduce the amount of food waste that's getting thrown out. I'm also supporting a lot of local farmers as well as farmers around the US and even some internationally that have excess produce. So I do really like supporting that cause and supporting those farmers. So that is pro number three. Pro number four is that over the past year, Imperfect Produce has really introduced me to a lot of new fruits and vegetables that I would have never purchased on my own, or I would never have been drawn to. For example, I don't think I ever really even ate a date before I started using Imperfect Produce, and now I get dates all the time. It's really just expanded my horizons in terms of the items that I purchase on a regular basis. So yeah, that is pro number four. And the final pro is that Imperfect Produce has been a really easy to use service in terms of their interface and their customer experience. It is extremely easy if you need to skip a month or skip a week or change the frequency of delivery. It's really easy to do that. It's also very intuitive for how to pick out the menu items. They send you an email when it's time to pick out what you want in your delivery, and it is just a very easy to use service. So that is another benefit of Imperfect Produce. Now, before I move on to the cons, I do want to let you guys know I do have a referral code. I believe that gives you $10 off your first order of Imperfect Produce if you are interested in trying it out. I also get a referral bonus for that, so it's kind of a win-win if you are thinking about trying it out. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so now let's move on to the cons of Imperfect Produce, because unfortunately, there definitely are a few. The first con that we've run into is there are pretty consistent supply chain issues and things being out of stock after we order them. So I would say this probably happens once every 2 to 3 weeks, where the day of the delivery or the day before the delivery, they say that one of the items is out of stock or something happened to it where they can't include it in the delivery. So that is always pretty disappointing when the items that we were counting on getting are no longer included in the package. Now, of course, they do refund the money that we spent on that, but if you are someone who is counting on that item to make a recipe or something like that, then that can be pretty disappointing. Now, the number two con is that the actual produce itself does have a pretty inconsistent quality. Now, of course, this is to be expected. This is Imperfect Produce. Not everything is going to be like perfect, pristine quality level. But if you are someone who is kind of squeamish about having cosmetic problems on your fruits and vegetables, then you may want to stay away from Imperfect Produce. I know in theory it can kind of sound better than it sometimes is when it gets delivered to you. So just keep that in mind. However, I would say the majority of the items that I get are not really imperfect at all. To be honest, they seem pretty good cosmetically. A lot of the produce is just simply surplus that they couldn't sell. Also, sometimes the cosmetic issue is just the size of the product. So for example, I might get like really small onions or something like that, but the actual quality and the cosmetic appearance outside of the size is still perfectly fine. So if you're okay with that inconsistent quality, then you're probably gonna be fine with Imperfect Produce, but just keep that in mind if you're someone who really does want that beautiful fruits and vegetables all the time. And the final con number 3, is it's really hard, in my opinion, to exclusively rely on Imperfect Produce for your produce, just because the selection of items does change seasonally. It does change from week to week. It's hard to always say like, oh, I'm going to make this recipe with broccoli and I can rely on Imperfect Produce always having broccoli available every week. Now, to be honest, this is probably a good thing to force yourself to eat more seasonally, but just keep that in mind that it's not an unlimited selection of all types of fruits and vegetables like you would get at your supermarket, where you can get pretty much anything every time of year. With Imperfect Produce, it really is much more of a seasonal variety of fruits and vegetables, which again is probably a good thing, but keep that in mind that you may not be able to use Imperfect Produce for all of your grocery shopping or all of your produce selection. And that's it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you've used Imperfect Produce, definitely let me know in the comments your thoughts about it. And again, if you are thinking about trying it out, feel free to use my referral code, which will give you $10 off. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.